As a backline logi, you can just bring all the crates you produce in the factory to the nearest storage facility and have other people take care of the distribution to the front line. All we need to do for that is open the storage depot, and when we see the inventory of our truck, we just right click on the crates, and the same as with a town hall, we just say submit all to stockpile. Difference being is that this gets submitted as crates, and if we decide that we want to bring things to the front line, we can just either click on it. That will start assembling one crate if we left click. Or we can shift click, and that will start assembling slower because it's assembling 3 crates at once. Plus side is, we don't have to produce anything. We can just go to the storage depot, take the crates out, and bring those to the front line. Not only can we find crates over here, there is the possibility to store vehicles as well. So if you're looking for a truck when you want to start your logi run, you can always go to the storage facility and see if a hauler or a Atlas hauler is available, or whatever the equivalents on the warden's sides are. We can also submit our own truck into the stockpile. All we need to do for that is press E to open the storage depot, and in the actions panel we see a button that looks like this. It says submit vehicle, and if we click that, it will put the truck inside the storage facility. Now, to get our truck back out, we just go into the stockpile, we go to the vehicle menu, we click on the R1 hauler. We can see that it starts assembling. It will start assembling it, and once it's done assembling, it will appear here on the loading dock on the side of the storage facility. We can hop in and drive it away. There we go. There it is. That's our truck. We hop in. Only downside is, once we store it inside the storage depot, it will lose all fuel that was there. Whether it was diesel or petrol, that doesn't matter. As soon as you pull it out, it will be back to diesel, and it will only have 10 diesel in the tank. So we definitely have to refuel. If we want to store things like explosive materials or basic materials inside the storage depot so they can be transported further down the line for either repairs or, in the case of explosive materials, to factories that are closer to the front, what we need is the resources in crates. So we can't put them into the storage depot as is, as we will see in a minute. We need them in crates, and in order to get them in crates, we go to the refinement panel and to our basic material queue, and if we right click on that icon and we say retrieve as crates, we will pull it in as crates. If we put 100 of these basic materials into the inventory, and we do the same thing with explosive materials, we go right click, say retrieve as crates, we can see that we have a crate of explosive materials. This will only contain 20 explosive materials, whereas a crate of basic materials will contain the same as a normal stack. And we come to the storage depot, we press E to open it, and we go on the crate of explosive materials. We right click and say submit to stockpile. It will have brought one crate of explosive materials into the stockpile. If we do the same for the basic materials, we do submit to stockpile, storage depot. We want to bring 4 over. We hit submit. Those are all in. If we now want to submit all the other stuff into the stockpile, so we go right click, submit all to stockpile storage depot, it will not do anything for the simple reason that it is not created. In order to create them in the storage depot, all we need to do is have our truck open and right click on the basic materials in the inventory of our truck. And we say pack material crates, and that will put all the stacks of basic materials into crates of basic materials. And we can do the same for explosive materials. We have 60 explosive materials. If we right click and we say pack material crates, we can see we created 3 crates because every crate will contain 20 explosive materials. So that is 20, 40, 60 explosive materials. Now, if we want to submit this to the stockpile, we can, because these are crated. So we just go right click, submit all to stockpile. If we want to make a personal stockpile, all we need to do is come to the storage depot, press E to open the menu of the storage depot, and if we look all the way in the actions panel, we can see there is a giant plus that says create reserve stockpile. So if we hit that button, we get to put in a name for a reserve stockpile. Tutorial, that's what we call it. We submit it, and now we can see we have a stockpile that is entirely empty, so there is nothing in any of the categories. It is called tutorial. It's made by me, Freerk, and the expiry time is 2 days and 1 hour. What this means is that in 2 days and 1 hour, whatever is in this stockpile will be released to the public stockpile unless I reset the timer, and the way to reset the timer is to submit more stuff into the personal stockpile. So in order to put stuff into our personal stockpile, we go here and we make sure that we are in tutorial, not in public or Freerk. That's my other stockpile over here. So we go make sure it is in tutorial, and with the inventory of our truck having the crates, we just go as before. We right click and hit submit all to stockpile. We can add all kinds of things. So we can actually add vehicles as well, and containers and flak guns and cement concrete mixers, as they are actually called. If we have our personal stockpile open, there are a couple of extra options that are available to us. The first one is release the reserve stockpile. If we click this button, all these crates will be dumped into the actual public stockpile. If we click on the make reserve stockpile visible, this will allow other players to see what is in this stockpile, so they can make a request to you personally and say, hey, I can see you have this in your stockpile, can you release it to me? One way to release it is to pull it out for them, or the other way, and the easier way, is to use the view passcode button, because if we click this, we can see there is a passcode. And if you give this passcode to somebody else, which you can do with the fourth one, that will copy it into your clipboard. And you can use Discord or anything else to send the passcode. So if you send this passcode to somebody else, they can use this button in the actions panel that says access reserve stockpile. And if they type in the 6-digit passcode, they get access to the stockpile they have the passcode to. Another thing we can do is shift supplies between different stockpiles. So we opened my other stockpile, my other personal stockpile right now. If we look in the tutorial stockpile, we can see we have 1 crate of grenades, 2 crates of 7.62, 2 Argentis, and 4 crates of shirts. If we go to Freerk, and we see that we have, for instance, the Katara Model 2, 3 crates of them. If I right click and I say transfer item, I get a destination to pick. And if I select tutorial and we hit transfer, we get to say how many. And if I say all 3, we hit transfer and we go and look into our tutorial stockpile. We can see that suddenly there's 3 Katara crates. And we can do the same trick to bring them back. So we right click, transfer item. We send it to Freerk. We hit transfer. We say, let's do 2 and keep 1 here. So if we hit transfer, 1 is left in tutorial. And if we go to Freerk, we can see there's 2 here. Now, none of this will reset the expiry time. So you can see this expiry time is 2 days and not 1 hour, but 0 hours. The only way to reset this timer is to submit some extra crates. One of the reasons to have a personal stockpile is that it is faster to take crates from your personal stockpile than it is to take it from the public stockpile. So if I shift click on the soldier supplies crates, I will get 3 crates very fast. If we go here, go to the public stockpile and we go to the shirts and we hit shift click, we can see that assembling time is longer. Whereas basically everything can be stored in the public stockpile, not everything can be stored into the personal stockpile. Only materials that are retrieved as crates from the refinery are reservable in the personal stockpile. All supplies that you yourself ordered in the factory under the personal or squad order queue are reservable in the stockpile. Supplies you ordered under the public production queue are not reservable in the stockpile. Crates that are produced by others in your squad that are produced as a squad order are also reservable in the stockpile. All logi vehicles are reservable in the personal stockpile. Combat vehicles, however, are not storable in the personal stockpile. The only way to reserve combat vehicles is to produce them in a mass production facility and store the crate of multiple combat vehicles into the personal stockpile.